Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Grace and I am a 3-time marathon runner chasing a sub 4-hour marathon. And if you are not new here, I first and foremost want to apologize for the delay of this video. This video is a recap of the 2026 full marathon weekend at Walt Disney World. I am currently 6 weeks out from marathon weekend, and unfortunately it has taken me this long to get in front of the camera and gather my thoughts on marathon weekend 2026. If you decided to stay and continue to follow my journey, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because apparently what we were experiencing in the last 6 weeks is called burnout. I have ran 3 marathons now, and my first 2 marathons did not feel anything like this post-marathon. And I'm quickly learning that each and every marathon will be different, not just during, but before, during, and after your marathon. We had a rough 6 weeks. I am not going to lie. We have felt, I say we, and by we, I mean myself. We have felt a out-of-body experience, to say the least. A feeling I am obviously not used to. I have never been in this position after running any type of race, whether it be a half marathon, 5K, 10K, full marathon. I feel that I have always been able to take the break that I needed and just get right back into it. And unfortunately, this year, that was not the case. This year, we took a 2-week hiatus. ChatGPT and we kind of sat down together and figured out a base training program, and with that came some rest. So being that we want to work on a zone 2, ChatGPT figured I needed 2 weeks of rest. Those 2 weeks turned into 6. And this is probably the first week that we are kind of feeling ourselves again. I got right back into lifting and felt out of place in the gym, something I have never felt in my life. I have been lifting since I was about 23 years old, so I want to say about 13 years I have been lifting. I'm very comfortable in lifting and in my lifting journey, but for some reason, after this year's marathon, I came back into the gym. Mind you, this is my own gym. I am in my garage, and I felt out of place, like I just didn't belong. So with that being said, I want everyone to know that your journey, your fitness or health journey will not be linear, and that is okay. That is completely normal. You will have good weeks, bad weeks, somewhere in between, weeks where you feel like you can take on the world and weeks where you just want to be a couch potato. You need to meet yourself where you're at. On those bad weeks, just move your body to your best ability. If what that looks like is a 10-minute walk around your block, then let it be just that. Don't set these high standards because you know what you're capable of and you know that you've done more in the past. That doesn't mean this version of you is any less. This kind of turned into a motivation speech, not something I had in mind. That can be a whole nother video on itself based on burnout and what could happen post-marathon. But what you're here for today is, did she or did she not hit her sub 4 marathon this year at Walt Disney World's 2026 marathon weekend? So I have literal pen and paper here with all of my notes, because like I said, today is February 26th and we are literally 6 weeks post-marathon. Like, tomorrow kicks off Princess Weekend. So why not put out marathon weekend recap on the best week of the entire season? And I say that because Princess Weekend is my run-iversary. This week, I am celebrating 4 years of my run journey. I am a very new runner. I am still learning every single day, and I hope you take everything I say with a grain of salt, but this is what works for me. This is my experience at the Run Disney weekends, and I hope that it helps make your experience just a little bit more enjoyable. So let's get right into it. Walt Disney World's 2026 Marathon Weekend. Okay, so one of the things that we did a little bit differently this year was we decided to add an extra day to our weekend. We're here. Let Marathon Weekend begin. Typically, we drive up early Friday morning and we stay until usually Monday morning. Now, this year, we decided we really wanted to take our rest very seriously. We wanted to make sure that we were prioritizing our rest, not just during our training, but also during the actual marathon weekend. So we actually booked Thursday night and headed up to Disney after school and work on Thursday. So we arrived at our hotel, I think it was about 8 o'clock at night, nothing too serious, but later in that night, and we're able to wake up Friday morning and get all the important things done. That way we actually had a full 2 days of rest. I think it was probably the best thing we could have done. We didn't have to rush to the expo. You know, usually we're racing up there, checking into our hotel and then rushing the expo, things like that. So being there Thursday night, definitely a plus. We will probably be doing that again next season. Friday, we woke up Friday morning and decided we wanted to do a shakeout run. I was going to end all runs on Thursday, but then I kind of thought about having 48 hours of zero movement. I didn't really like the idea of kind of freezing up in those 2 days. So we went out for a little shakeout run, just did it on the treadmill, quick little 5K. I had video footage of this for you guys, and unfortunately, if you saw my video before this, I deleted a lot of my footage prior to saving it on my Google Drive. Rookie move. And it was very upsetting because some of that footage was actually very important. Part of my last video, just really thanking you guys for all being here, but I guess I can say that a million times and it'll never be enough. So after our shakeout run, we decided we were going to go food shopping because we were kind of sweaty and disgusting and didn't want to waste any time getting dressed and all of that. So we went straight from our shakeout run, went food shopping. We always stay in a hotel with a full kitchen. I find this to be very important, especially on marathon weekends. On the half marathon weekends, you can kind of get away with it. I really like having the ability to cook my own food, not have to worry about eating things that I didn't eat during my training season. So I'm, running the risk of an upset GI and things like that. Something we obviously want to avoid during our race weekends. So having that full kitchen, being able to go do a full-on food shopping haul is probably my biggest tip when it comes to a marathon weekend. After we went food shopping, we went back to the hotel, we freshened up, and we headed straight to the expo. Again, this allowed us to arrive at the expo comfortably, no rush, no racing around, no trying to make it before they close, things like that. That can be added stressors to a weekend that is already pretty stressful, if you ask me. Exciting, but stressful. So we made it to the expo. We got all of our usual photo ops, the specific race billboards, all of the little decals that they have on the floor, your running Mickey. We love all of those photo ops because the more pictures you take, the more chances you have to reminisce on such an amazing weekend. So please make sure that you take advantage of all the photo ops. Even if you're not feeling your best or the weekend has you stressed, just make sure to take all the photos, all the videos, because looking back on it, you absolutely want to have that ability to be able to relive the entire experience. After taking all of the necessary photos, we headed straight back to bib pickup. So if you head all the way to the back and to the left, if this is not your first time, you obviously know where you're headed, or just kind of follow the masses. You'll see where everyone's going. In the bib pickup room is where you will obviously pick up your bib, be able to speak to guest relations. This year, they had an additional photo op with a replica of the Walt Disney World Castle, which was absolutely stunning. But even on Friday, being the third expo day, you wouldn't expect it to be too busy. But it was actually really busy, and that castle photo was not happening because we were not going to stand in a 2-hour line to take a picture with a replica castle. We got our bibs. We were in Corral C, which was kind of the guess that my husband and I had. We were hoping it would be B at least, but we weren't too mad about it. C was not terrible, and our plan was to arrive at our corral early so that we could kind of get to the beginning of C, so it would feel a little bit like we were in the back of Corral B. After picking up our bibs, luckily we did not have to head to guest relations this time. If you have seen my wine and dine recap, you know what I mean. I unfortunately forgot our after party tickets, and we did also have to go talk to them about our proof of time because we were unfortunately placed in the wrong corral. When I say the wrong corral, we did have a proof of time and were able to get bumped up to a better corral. But essentially, there's never a wrong corral. You are placed where you're placed, and just be happy with it. These people are just volunteers doing their job, and just be a good person on Run Disney weekends. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people who do give a lot of pushback, and it's just so hard on these people, and there's no reason for that. Absolutely no reason for that. So after our bib pickup, we headed over to the vendor's room. And in the vendor's room, as I had mentioned in the past, they have now moved the race numbers. So the mileage numbers, the photo op that we all know and love, is now in the vendor's room. And if you have taken photos in the past with those numbers, you know the horrendous lighting they used to have when they were in the bib pickup room. So luckily they continue to put them in the vendor's room. The pictures came out beautiful and perfectly lit, and we just love taking those photos. Obviously, we want to celebrate the number of miles we are running, whether it be 3.1 or 26.2. One of the first vendors we came across was the lovely Shocks. We are currently an ambassador with the Shocks Superstars. And if you have not seen my previous videos, I have been talking a lot about the Shocks and their one open dots, their free runs. I will not accept an ambassador program from a product or a company that I do not truly stand behind. There are not many products that I truly stand behind, but if you see me using the product myself, I will gladly accept their ambassador program and spread the word. Shocks has actually changed me as a runner. I never used to listen to anything on my runs. I was one to kind of just run with my thoughts, and having the ability to hear my surroundings and still be able to listen to a podcast or a running book and learn as I go. Or, we're out there for so many hours when it comes to marathon training that I was so happy that I could continue to listen to books and podcasts and really use those 3-hour runs to grow as a runner, not just physically, but also educationally and things like that. So I'm absolutely obsessed with my Shocks, and use the code GRACE5 if you would like to save some coin. Now, enough about Shocks. I know we're here for Marathon Weekend, but we did come across Shocks, and being an ambassador was really, really cool to see and just be a part of their team. It was an awesome experience. So as we headed back in the vendor's room to collect our shirts, the shirts are also in the vendor's room. They are in the very, very back of the vendor's room. They are still being made by Brooks. They still have this giant plastic photo in the front. Unfortunately, I absolutely adore the image itself, but to say that I would run in these shirts, I honestly cannot say that. I love them, but I wear them more for style, going out, things like that. I would probably not ever run in this shirt. which is kind of a good thing. I guess I'll never ruin it, so I will have it to remember forever. But Brooks, it's not doing it for me. I need the smaller print to come back, more breathable, flexible material. This is just not doing it for me. But speaking of Brooks, as you head back, get your shirts, to the right of the shirt pickup, they had the full line of Brooks Run Disney shoes. So it seems as though each weekend now, Brooks is putting out a new pair of shoes for the race-specific weekend, but they also had the Run Disney generalized shoes that they have put out that are for non-specific weekends. I personally like the non-specific shoe. I feel like it kind of has more ability to wear at any time of day, even when you're home, things like that, going on your runs or walks, just casual things. I'm not too much of a fan of the specific shoes. I know, being that I am putting this out on Princess Weekend, they did just release the princess shoes as well. And as cute as they are just a little bit out there for me and just, again, not doing it for me. But I'm also not a Brooks shoe person. So maybe if you wear Brooks and you do like the things that they typically put out, it will probably sell for you for sure. So after making a couple loops through the vendor's room, we like to get a lot of free samples, things like that. That's always fun. We did pick up some salt sticks because I forgot to bring our salt tabs. So we grabbed those. With that being said, this weekend was extremely warm compared to previous marathon weekends. This was not your typical weekend for temperatures, and I think that played a big role on how a lot of people raced this weekend. We will get into that once we get to Sunday, race day, and all of the specifics there. After the vendors, we headed over to the merch building. In the merch building, I must say, I am pretty proud of myself. I am giving myself kudos because I am pretty good about not spending money in this room. I'm usually there for one thing and one thing only, and that is the new Run Disney stackable mugs. I did purchase the Run Disney General mug, and then this weekend, obviously, I purchased the Marathon Weekend mug. With that being said, I will be purchasing a Wine and Dine one as soon as one catches my eye. I'm not too excited about this year's Wine and Dine theme, so I'm not so sure that I will purchase this year's, but Wine and Dine is our favorite weekend. So obviously I will be purchasing a mug from a Wine and Dine weekend at some point. After that, I think we are pretty much done with the mugs. I don't want too big of a collection, but obviously I wanted to have one from each of the races that really means something to us. So Wine and Dine being our favorite weekend, and then I obviously needed a marathon mug. I do have something in the works for next year that may or may not require me to buy a mug, but again, we'll touch on that subject when we get there. So in the merch room, obviously we have the different races. You have your dopey merch, your marathon merch, your goofy merch, your 5K, 10K merch for each of the different races, and then also your Run Disney non-race specific weekends. There is one thing that I do want. There is a white sweater, zip up, whatever you call it, that is non-Run Disney weekend specific, and I want it so badly. I just honestly can't justify the price. I think I mentioned it in my Wine and Dine recap, and I did not end up getting it this time because I was going in for the black marathon weekend zip up, and that completely sold out by the time we got there on Friday. Unfortunately, I think all they had was like an extra large, and I tried to sell my husband on it, but he typically doesn't like me in baggy clothing already, and extra large was just a little bit too baggy, even for my taste. So alas, we did not get the marathon weekend zip up, but it's okay. I'm getting better at blocking out the noise and the overconsumption of things like that. You know, we really don't need to feed into all of this overconsumption noise that social media is constantly feeding us, and Run Disney merch does not play a different part. It is just as bad, and I think we should all stop purchasing things we don't need. I think I'm talking to myself more than I'm talking to you, but I'm getting better. So yeah, after the expo, honestly, we didn't do too much. Like I said, we really wanted to prioritize our rest this weekend. We went in the pool, we played some mini golf with the kids at the hotel. That night, we actually went to the outlet, just my husband and we were just looking for a new shirt for my husband to race in. Now, when I say new, it is a new as in he just bought it that day, but it is a shirt that he has raced in before. I always say, and I will continue to say until I am blue in the face, no new products on race day, whether it be clothing, shoes, fuel, whatever it is, we do not test things on race day. Again, this is a new shirt because he would have bought it that day, but a shirt that he has raced in the past. So we know that it is something that he does race well in. On Saturday, it was basically a full rest day. We did not do much other than go to Magic Kingdom. So the boys had a boys' day. They went and played golf, and then me and my daughter headed over to Magic Kingdom. It was a lot of fun. We had the best girls' day. The only thing I regret, honestly, was I did not fuel or hydrate properly. Now, once I realized how much fuel and hydration I had to make up when we got back to the hotel, I did start to panic a little bit. I started eating and drinking like a maniac. I think I had pasta from the night before. I made myself a sandwich. I downed like 2 noons in a water bottle. Like I literally started panicking and trying to catch up from the day. I think I did a good job. I don't think that affected me on Sunday per se. But again, we'll get to Sunday. All right, so it is race day. It is Sunday. We woke up feeling so good. I don't even know how to describe it other than I have never woken up for a Run Disney race without feeling hungover. Now, obviously, I've never drank to the point of feeling hungover the day before my race, but for some reason, that 2 a.m. wake-up call leaves me feeling hungover every time we race. And for some reason, this weekend, I slept so good. I woke up at 2 a.m. with my first alarm and was ready to get up, get dressed, and get going. I did not have that upset hungover feeling, and I was just so excited for this marathon. One thing I did differently when I woke up, the first thing I started to do was to start drinking my carbohydrates. I immediately mixed my Tailwind and I started drinking my Tailwind. In the past, I have normally taken it with me and I drank it on the way to Epcot. I was so happy with this because usually I have to pee so badly when we get to the race, whether it be nerves or the amount of liquid that I drank prior to getting in the corral. But for some reason, I decided I was not going to do that this time, and I'm really happy that I did. Everything settled really, really well. So I got up, I got dressed, I did my hair, added a ton of glitter, obviously, because glitter makes you faster. Don't ask me, I don't make the rules, but it's true. And this is where I messed up. We were feeling so good heading to Epcot at 3:54 a.m. And we still had to park and walk all the way over to the corrals. And we had a bag to check, which we typically do not. Good morning, it is race morning. We're finally here, and it is a little chilly, so it's kind of nice for the start. But overall, we feel really good. We slept really good. We woke up feeling good. We fueled well. We're ready. We were actually walking up as we noticed Corral A had been closed. We headed over to bag check, and while we were in line, Corral B proceeds to close. Now, again, let me remind you, we are Corral C. At this point, my husband is panicking, and let's be honest, a little pissed, because I was pissed at myself. I remembered that marathon weekend now starts at 4:30. not 5 like your typical race weekends. We were in the bag check line when we decided to ditch the bag. Luckily, I did not have anything valuable in there. I was going to bring recovery shoes. Thankfully, I did not. So I did toss my post-race wipes and my post-race shirt. Not a huge deal. I'm still a little bit upset that I didn't get to wear the marathon shirt that I made, but that is neither here nor there, because as we were walking up to the race corrals, Corral C closed, and then D proceeds to close. But as we were approaching D, so since we missed C, we were obviously pushed to D, and they were nice enough to let us get into D, even though it had just closed. So thank you to those Run Disney volunteers, because I would have been really, really upset if we were behind by 2 corrals versus 1. We tried walking up as far as we could in Corral D, but like I said, at that point, we were basically the end of Corral D, and it was upsetting. I'm not gonna lie. It was very upsetting to have a corral like C and totally miss it and have to run in D, because last year we ran E, and that was really, really hard to make up. We had to run some really fast miles in the beginning, and it was just not easy to make up those 11 and 12 minute miles. We are now in our corral and ready to run. Honestly, the only good thing about entering Corral D just as it was closed and starting to move was that we did not waste any time on our feet. We were just able to warm up in the corral, kind of keep moving. We never really stood still. My feet didn't start burning. So that was probably the only plus about being late, I guess. If I'm trying to find a silver lining here, and that's probably the only silver lining at this point. As soon as we had the 3, 2, 1, go.
3, 2, 1, go!
And we just took off. My husband and I started off feeling so good. We were hitting all of our paces. Typically, it takes me about the first 4 miles to really loosen up. Now, 4 miles sounds like a lot. In the grand scheme of things, it is not. So once you hit that 4 mile mark and you're just cruising, it is the best feeling in the world. We felt so good. I cannot explain to you how good we felt. 9.5 miles down, we stopped for a potty break, but we're feeling amazing. I hope we can carry this energy all the way through to the finish line. Let's go. Compared to our previous 2 races, everything was just flowing so good. It was very humid. It was a lot hotter than other weekends. The only nice thing was that it was comfortable at 5 a.m. We were not freezing. My fingers were not hurting like they had been in the past. It was just an overall great race. Now, we hit probably mile 14, and mentally, I hit a complete roadblock. I was done. At mile 14, I no longer wanted to run. I don't know what it was. I don't know how to explain it other than it was a wall. I hit a wall at mile 14. That is a problem. Obviously, I thought it was a problem when we were in the middle of running and I still had so many miles left to go. I mean, we literally had just hit the halfway mark. Like, I'm not able to give up at this point. This is too early in the game for me to give up. Funny thing, I did not tell my husband. One thing about running with another person is that typically the way you feel, the energy that you give off during a race can impact the other runner. Now, if they are a strong runner or just a very strong athlete in general, it may not affect them. And that's great too, because obviously we don't want to bring down their mood, or you may need them to help bring you back up. So having that person there is just such a blessing sometimes. And I obviously did not want to bring him down that early in the game. We got our banana at mile 14 and it was like a totally different person. All of a sudden, I was ready to go. I was feeling great. All the energy came back to me and I was just ready to kill the second half of this race. And at mile 16, My husband mentions, now this is as we are passing the Star Wars mile. This is like the coolest mile, and I hope to one day be able to actually run it in the dark. This year we did get it a little bit darker than we have in the past, but we still have not been able to see those lasers or experience those lasers in the pitch black, which is probably the coolest thing to see in person. I have seen videos. I would love to see it in person. So back to mile 16, we were passing Kylo Ren, and my husband says, let's take a picture. Now, if you know my husband, he is not one to stop for the character stops because he has a goal in mind, and obviously stopping for the characters hinders that goal. So once he told me that he wanted to stop for a character, I knew something was wrong. We stopped for Kylo Ren, and he finally admits to me that he was done. Now, this is typical of my husband. Unfortunately, at mile 18 is his wall. The last 2 marathons, he has hit a wall at mile 18 each time. Fortunately, this time I was feeling so strong. I felt like I could pick up the pace and really, really knock my PR out of the park. And he did not. So as many times as he told me to go, hit my PR, keep going, you've got this, please don't stay with me, I, for some reason, felt a tug in my heart to stay with him. I had this feeling that we were going to cross that finish line together, and we were going to PR. That was that. He was going to PR whether he liked it or not, and I was going to PR, and we were going to do it together. So we continued to trek on. We actually stopped for a couple more characters. I think we stopped for Oogie Boogie, and I stopped for Frozo because I did do the Frozo video or short, and I obviously wanted to have a photo with him. When I saw it was him, I was like, this is perfect. I have to get a photo with him. So long story short, we stopped for characters, and we never stopped for characters. So that was kind of fun to experience during the marathon. Like I said, something that we never experienced in the past. So if you don't have a PR in mind, I absolutely recommend stopping for characters. I mean, heck, if you have a PR in mind, stop for characters, because I have seen several of my friends stop for 20 plus characters and still kill their PRs. So absolutely, if you have it in you and there's no line, run right up, take your photo, and just keep going. I 100% recommend it, because having those photos again at the end of the race is just so awesome to be able to relive that experience. We actually saw Frozo, and then now we're on the boardwalk. At this point, I was done. I think I was actually done before this at mile 22. Mile 21, we're feeling it. Pain everywhere. Ready to finish. We had just left Blizzard Beach, and I wasn't done physically. I was just like bored. Like I was over it. I didn't want to be running anymore. I was tired of running. I wanted to quit at this point, but not in a bad way. I was able to really dig deep. I actually owe this all to the PFITS programming. I don't think I would have felt this strong as a runner in my marathon had it not been for my PFITS training. It was so hard in the best way. And I will be using PFITS again come this next season or this next training block. He did come out with a new version of his book. I did already purchase it, and I will be using PFITS for my training. If you had seen the first video, my husband used Runna. Don't think Runna failed my husband in any way. I do think he could have lifted more, and I just think his schedule didn't allow that. But I'd have nothing bad to say about Runna, but everything good to say about PFITS. I absolutely loved the PFITS programming. So now we're at the boardwalk. We're heading back to Epcot. We are both in the pain cave. My husband is, honestly, I feel so bad. His legs felt heavy. He was just pulling from everything and giving it his all. And I was just really trying to motivate without annoying him. Because when you're feeling that way, when you're in that pain cave, anything that anyone says can obviously trigger you. And if it's not something you want to hear, then you're gonna snap back, and that's just normal. But long story short, we get back into Epcot. We know we have that last, I think it's 1,000 meters at that point, and we were so ready to be done, but felt so good to be in Epcot at this point. The people are cheering, everything feels amazing, and we are racing through Epcot, and you make that final turn into the chute, and everyone is just screaming. They mention your name on your bib. Everything just comes together, and my husband and I were finishing together, which was all I really, really wanted in this race. And we see the time above us, and we did it. We PR'd, and we PR'd heavy, but we did not get our sub-4 marathon. But I have to say, I feel so much more accomplishment in finishing strong and finishing with the person who has been by my side the entire time. And we still PR'd heavy. Like, that just means so much to me. And I am so excited. And now that I have finally gotten in front of the camera again to talk to you guys about the experience, I think I am finally coming out from this heavy burden of burnout. And I'm just so excited to get started in this new run training journey. Starting a base program, as hard as a base program will be, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna get our heart rate low. We're running the zone 2s. We're doing the boring work just so that we can prove that we will hit our sub-4, whether it be the next marathon or not. And that's okay, because that's why we set goals for ourselves, is to constantly push and make ourselves stronger day in and day out. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to message me, comment, like, and subscribe so that you can stay up with my race training. And now with CrossFit coming up, we have the CrossFit Open this week, and I'm hoping to include some of that for you guys. I also have my Gymshark review still to do, but thank you all for being here, and thank you so much for pulling me out of my running burnout, because I would not be able to have done it without you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye.